Hello and welcome. We are the K2c2 Academy. My name is Klaus and I'm the General Secretary. Our employment began in the early 1980s to understand and apply natural and technical energies. At first we looked deep into the work of the genius Victor Schauberger, an Austrian guy who works in the early 1920s to the 1960s with different energies in water and in the air. Our first developments was egg-shaped forms for water and fire. In the year 1996 I built on the main place in my hometown in Linz, Austria, a Schauberger memorial fontaine with different ceramic kudu horns. And to our surprise, technicals can measure a natural movement and energy, electric energy in water. And this was the first surprising for us. Then followed more than 35 years of researching in the field of different areas, groundwater, root structure and soil. End of the year 2018 we began a new project with what we called a U.F.O, a Universal Field and Fluid Organization device. In this form, as a rotor, we developed 16 to 24 kudu horns and some balls for diamagnetic minerals. In these balls are up to 87 natural elements from the periodic table. We gave this horn a form like the sun rays, like a child draws the sun rays. You can see in the special structure of this horn what we created and different insides of the rotor himself. At the second step, we created a U.F.O for room quality management. We see that the water structure can only be in a normal shape when all the fields, electromagnetic, geomagnetic and different other impacts are in harmony. Then the water structure become a form like healing water, like the best or the more as the best healing waters in Europe, more than the healing water of the famous spring from Lourdes. This special form from the U.F.O for room quality brings together some different energy movements. First you have the inwards flow from water or fluid or air in a direction, in a very fine inwards direction. We called them, and the scientifics called them, implosions. Also in this process are some cavitation effects, and cavitation is when bubbles implode in himself and creates spontaneous energy. The next field build quality, what we noticed, are a toroidal form like a lemniscate, like a lying 8. And the third energy movement, what we see, is the structure as a dome. You see outside it looks like a dome structure. The balls in the rotor are filled with diamagnetic minerals and some soils and different other materials. As I said, 87 different natural elements are in this ball. And so there are created different new energies and forms that for us very, very interesting, and also for the whole living area, living space. You can see into the structure from the U.F.O Aircram 6 and Aircram 16, and also you see here the running rotor with the balls in. And every time when the fields cut, the diamagnetic fields, there is creating a new forms of energy. In the next step, we create a device for water hose. In this device, we bring in water, different mineral trace elements, and then we evacuate this system and bring in it CO2. And while the rotor is spinning and we cool them down, it begins different synthesis in the water and also a form of transmutation of the elements. And so we create a water which never seen in nature. We begin to study the water structure while we play with this rotor, so you can see the movement and into the rotor. We can see in the middle of the rotor there is building a membrane and there is nothing in. We call them the soul of the rotor. There we see and study different very interesting effects, and all the people, they are radiostatic interested. They see that the energy is so high. They say that the energy in the water goes up to 90,000 bovis. It's a very high energy. Lourdes healing water is nearly 13,000 bovis. And then we noticed a pulsation, and as we know, pulsation is a form of life. Then we look into this with slow motion pictures, and you see the ring on the outer side from the rotor looks like the Saturn rings, like the planetary rings from Saturn. And this pulsation, you see in the middle, you see a little bit of mineral dust, and this mineral dust doesn't move very holy, and this movement of rock dust is very slow, like in the eye of the hurricane. And when we bring out the rotor of the water, it looks like the spiral arms of the galaxy. Then we bring in the rotor some air bubbles and study this, and it looks like a heartbeat, and also we hear the same like a heartbeat from a baby. Here you can see where the water comes out from the rotor, and it's a very fine structured water. And every time when we move the rotor, we hear this pulsation like the heartbeat from a baby. You can see different pictures where the water comes out from the rotor and the different layers of water around the rotor.
Sich zu merken, wo Plus und Minus waren, sonst läuft der Rotor verkehrt und ihr müsst die Kabel natürlich dann umschließen. Gut.
This is the RQM6, how we created, and you can see inside, and also there is what we called the little sister. She's half size of the normal U.F.O for room quality, and then we placed the U.F.O on different power points in nature and observe how they interact with different energies. We make this in spring, in summer, in fall and in winter. We see dandelion and other plants are growing so high and so big. As you see the plant by our little Gerhard, we called them the leaf of Adam. In the springtime we see very interesting effects by the plants. They build up very great and very wonderful, and also by the animals. As you see, the dogs of our president, every time when she turn on the U.F.O, the dogs are lying near to the rotor, while what we noticed is also there is a cooling effect and near by the rotor. And this cooling effect comes with a power from 0.03 watt. With a very little energy we can cool down rooms, and we make a project and see that we can cool down 20 cubic meters of air in a room in 40 minutes, 2 degrees Celsius down, 2 degrees less. And this with a power from 0.03 watt. Here we can see the cooling down effect with an infrared camera, and you see blue is the coldest and red is the warmest, and it goes from 40.2 down to 6.8 degrees. Very interesting. Every time when we switch on the device, different animals, also butterflies and very fine form of butterflies we've never seen in our garden, come here and observe this energy, these fields, and fly around the system. Also other different animals we never seen in this area come to us and visit these fields. This is the wood bee, we call so, and she is very fine blue colored and 4 to 5 centimeters long. This system creates for us a safe space, and in this safe space we can really create our safe space from our own energy. And these are the locations where the U.F.Os found her home. We begin in Austria, then we go to Switzerland and Germany, and now the first U.F.Os are gone to USA, to Texas and to Nevada. And with these two are the first we began our global program. Every Wednesday we have a Zoom meeting, and now we began to translate this in different languages and open up us for different other countries. Many of us feel, and you see it in the picture. Austria is already wonderfully permitted from these fields of order, and also Switzerland and Germany are already stepped in these delicate fields. Please join us and let us bring together this mission and passion into the global consciousness. Thank you for your help. Thank you that you bring your consciousness into this. I'm K2 from the K2c2 Academy.